Hi, Bill Johnson, Featherweight guy. Wanted to talk a little bit about how I price the machines that I've restored and I have for sale on my online store. The machines that I buy, I pick up locally, generally estate sales and yard sales. I do find a lot of them online, particularly through things like Facebook Marketplace. But I buy them all locally and I see them and I'm able to evaluate them in person before I buy them. So I'm basically paying what you would pay for an as-found featherweight. And when I restore the machine, of course, I'm spending different amounts on each one. I may have to replace parts. I've paid different prices for them to begin with, and different levels of effort are involved in the different restorations. But none of that actually factors into the price. The price is based on two things: scarcity and overall condition. And let's talk about the scarcity first. So there are some featherweight dealers that specialize in some of the really hard to find featherweights. I'm not one of those. Like I said, I find what I can find locally. And so far I haven't even found a Singer 222, the free arm version of this, in any of my travels locally. But there are obscure models with the Chicago World's Fair badge on them, for example, that go for really serious money to collectors. The scarcity I'm talking about has to do with the volume of production. When the machine was first introduced in 1933, they didn't sell a lot of them in the 30s. The sales increased gradually, but those early models are worth more because there are just fewer of them. And in fact, I think they're a little bit nicer because they have more chrome on them and some other differences that I'll point out in some other videos. Singer's production and sales of the featherweight increased after the World War II, and the highest production runs of the machine were in the 1950s. So most of the machines that I encounter when I'm out shopping for featherweights are the newer ones. And because they're more plentiful, I have to price them lower because there's just less demand for those. It's a scarcity issue. The overall condition is the other factor: how worn the decals are, the condition of the paint. Some of them I buy are in fairly rough condition and have to be repainted, but I don't want to do that. I'm more of a purist. I want to retain as much of the original finishes as I can in my restoration, so I only repaint as pretty much a last resort. If you're interested in a featherweight painted in crazy colors with different kinds of decals and so forth, I'm probably not the guy you want doing that work. There are plenty of other people that do that work. So again, scarcity and condition drive the price, and not anything to do with my level of effort. The other point I wanted to make is that I want you to distinguish between making an investment and making a purchase. When you invest in something, you expect that item to retain its value or go up in value. And that is, in fact, what has been happening with Singer featherweights. They continue to rise in value. There are fewer of these things surviving every day. The original production amounted to about 3 million machines. I don't know how many of them are still extant, probably 2 million, but more of them disappear every day. They end up being thrown away in some instances because people don't know what to do with them and don't know that they're a valuable item. And then there are some that are every day that are bought by people who dismantle them and sell the parts. I think that's unfortunate to take a completely restorable, complete machine and part it out, but that's the way there are people making income on eBay and other sites with parted out featherweights. And I think they've determined that the value of the parts that they can sell separately is greater than the price of reselling the machine, so that's what they do. And the last point I want to make when you're comparing featherweights is to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples. What I'm selling is a complete restored featherweight. It has the case, it has the spare bobbins, it has the attachments, it has the owner's manual, it has the Singer screwdrivers. So it is complete exactly the way Singer sold it. And as you're looking at your other choices out there, make sure that you're comparing fairly. So those are a few things I wanted you to keep in mind as you're considering investing in a featherweight. Thank you.